Hello! If you are anything like me, you will often, in the course of a day, find yourself aimlessly scrolling on Pinterest, forever trying to break up with my phone, but Pinterest is a hard one to kick because it's just so beautiful. And while you're feasting your eyes on all the wonderful things on that platform, you may find yourself saying, I'd like to buy that. I'd like to wear that. That seems like that's my new personality. But if you've spent time with me on this channel in the past, you'll know that as a general rule, I tend to lean away from purchasing things new and tend to lean towards thrifting and, most relevant to this video, making my clothing. And because of that, over the years, my relationship to Pinterest has steered away from it being the reason I look for something to buy and is more now the starting point for inspiration for things I might be interested in making. And this is just sort of like a second nature way that I use the platform these days, but it occurred to me that it might be interesting to share that with you. So today, I thought I would take you through sort of an amassed catalog of images that have caught my eye and then pull up corresponding patterns or ideas for recreating that article of clothing and see if that can provide a little bit of inspiration fodder for all of you. As you may know, I'm a big time knitter, so there will probably be a lot of knit or knit adjacent garments featured, but I will pepper in simple sewing projects as well. I am famously quite frightened of my sewing machine, so we're gonna be gentle. Have I set this up well at all? You know what we're doing. I don't have to worry. You know, you're smart. Okay, let's do the video. Okay, also I put this candle here for ambiance. It's a wooden wick candle. Is it gonna be so annoying to listen to? Should I do a little ASMR? I think it's probably gonna be fine. Okay, we're gonna start off with a really exciting sweater. Look at this sweater. Look at how wild and editorial it is. I concede that this does feel like something one might find on a runway. I don't know how supremely wearable it would be in everyday life, Like, I don't know that you could wear this to the grocery store. I mean, you could. You'd be iconic. It might feel a little silly to like wear out running errands, but this kind of sweater feels like an event sweater to me. If you had to go to like an art opening or some other kind of like big fancy event in the bleak midwinter, I think this would be an ideal sweater for that. I love how dramatic it is. I love that it has these like really like big ropey cables everywhere. I mean, it looks like a braided cumulus cloud, that classic way to describe a sweater. I think it's stunning. Like if this was in an art museum, I would be like, yeah, that checks out. So let's see what we can find on Ravelry. If you're unfamiliar, Ravelry is this wonderful platform for knitwear designers and knitters to come together. You can purchase patterns, you can often find free patterns. There's a community element to it so you can connect to other knitters and crocheters. It's just fantastic. I don't know that this sweater is going to be precisely dupeable. If you've watched my video that posted in December where I created my own Babaa jumper number 17, you'll know that sometimes it is really possible to get very, very close to the original design. This sweater obviously is a lot more specific. So what I'm looking for, I would probably go on vibes rather than on like exact style elements, So the first pattern that I will submit for your consideration is going to be the Aran sweater by M Knitting. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. MONM Knitting. I think it's beautiful. This is a more straightforward cable knit sweater, but the use of the many different kinds of cables, that sort of like messy, again, like ropiness of that column of cables down the middle of the sweater. And then again, like cumulus cloud slouchy. Is it a shoulder? Is it a sleeve? Is it the body? Who's to say? Kind of overall construction of the sweater. Another sweater that I would put forth in this conversation is the beautiful and iconic Gujo sweater by Egyo Knit. I actually almost knit this sweater in my Babaa video, but I decided that I wanted to get a little bit closer to the original. But I just think this one is exquisitely beautiful. This sweater is obviously not even close to an exact dupe for the original, but there is something about it. There's something about this far too big collar. There's something about the way, again, that the sleeve like blends into the body and it feels like you've shrunken down and just immersed yourself in that floating layer of marshmallows in a cup of hot cocoa. You know what I mean? That vibe of sweater feels very much in line with our original inspiration. Absolutely stunning. It is obviously like the springtime right now, so perhaps not like the most opportune time to be talking about like big woolen sweaters. But this is most of what I think about on a day-to-day basis, really regardless of season. So I'm just gonna be who I am. Hello, I would like to briefly interrupt this conversation about clothes to talk about, well, clothes. As you'll know, if you have been paying attention to this video or if you've been following along with my content for a while, I do make or thrift, I would say 85 to 90% of the clothing that I wear in everyday life. But there are still, of course, times when I welcome new articles of clothing into my life. But because of where my general ethos around clothing consumption lands, I am very, very choosy about which brands I choose to give my dollars to. And my very favorite brand to wear, support, and rave to my friends about is Quince. And I'm delighted to announce that they're today's sponsor. Quince's entire philosophy centers around providing quality, sustainable fashion at a very reasonable price. It's just wonderful. It's my favorite Venn diagram to exist within. I don't want to compromise on any of those things. I would like all three, please. For this sponsorship, Quince sent me some wonderful things. The first is this amazing organic Turkish cotton waffle robe. You all know I love a robe. I can often be caught lounging in a robe. My bathrobe for years has really needed a pretty substantial upgrade, and this is exactly that. It's plush, it feels luxurious, it feels like I am at a luxury spa every time I get out of the shower. They also sent me this incredible dress. This is the garden party frock of my dreams. I just think it's beautiful. It's so breezy. I love the sort of mix of textures and shapes in the construction of the garment. You have this beautiful 3/4 length balloon sleeve, the little ruffle on the bottom of the skirt, these sweet little buttons, and the collar. I feel like I'm a Brooklyn artist mom going to like a swanky summer backyard event, but I'm not trying too hard, you know? Is that a relatable vibe? That's how I feel in the dress. One of the amazing things that Quince offers is incredibly accessibly priced cashmere, and because it's Quince, the quality is incredible. It does not feel like affordable cashmere. It feels like expensive cashmere. I opted for this beautiful sort of burgundy cashmere tee. It's a really perfect spring transition piece. I've been wearing this a lot. I feel like a swanky 1950s college student. Remember that film Mona Lisa Smile? I feel like I'm one of the very stylish women in Mona Lisa Smile when I wear this shirt. It is so buttery soft and comfortable. It's just fantastic. They also sent me this incredibly cool boat neck brown tank. I have never in my life lost my mind over a tank top. I as far as I'm concerned, a tank top is a tank top. And this tank top has proved me wrong. I've worn this tank on a couple of dates recently. If you're an OG viewer, you'll know that I'm always experiencing existential crisis when I'm dressing for a date. And I actually think that this tank top might be the answer to the age-old question, what do you wear on a date? Because nothing seems appropriate. This is the date shirt. I think it's perfect. I feel so strong and powerful in this shirt, but also like really feminine and playful. And it's gonna be a great shirt to have in the summertime. It is like a true elevated basic. These have all become instant wardrobe favorites, and I'm delighted by that because I know the quality is so good that they're going to last for years and years and years. So they get to be my favorites for such a long time. What a wonderful thing that is. Everything they make is built to last, which for me, when I'm choosing to invest in a new garment, is so important. And it's why I have been and will continue to be a very, very loyal Quince customer. If you would like to try Quince for yourself, you can shop the link in my description to show your support for this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. First-time Quince customers get $20 off their order. The good news just keeps rolling in. Thank you so much to Quince for sponsoring this video and for making me feel like the very best version of myself this spring. Okay, in addition to being a sort of general consumer of Pinterest, I did take myself bodily into the world today and look at clothes in the wild. I had to go to the Apple store, not to brag, I had to go to the Apple store. The closest Apple store to me happens to be in the Mall of America. And so I thought, well, while I'm here, I may as well have a mall stroll and harken back to my Midwestern teenhood. I was actually so emotional while I was at the mall. I don't know what it was. Usually when I go to any mall, I am like heartily depressed because it's just a ghost town. None of the employees want to be there. It feels like there's going to be like a pack of wolves around every corner, tumbleweeds blowing hither and thither. But on this Thursday morning, the year of our Lord 2026 at the Mall of America, it was as if it was the 1990s again. There were just teens walking around, having an orange Julius, talking to their friends. It was so unexpectedly heartwarming. I don't know what that says about like where I am mentally or the general bleakness of the world that I was so heartened to see a mall being populated, as if a mall is like a harbinger of good. I was brought to tears. It was so like wholesome and nostalgic. I just thought like, oh, maybe we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. After I'd sort of gathered myself, I went to a few stores just to sort of get a sense of like what seems to be out there. One of the things that I kept seeing, because fashion repeats itself and because it's the early aughts again, apparently, there are all these little like light lacy, almost like eyelet tops. Do you remember that from our youth? If you're in your 30s, do you remember this? There was a time where there were lots of like eyelet peasant blouses everywhere. And that vibe seems very, very much to be back. Certainly in this season, in many of the stores that I was going to, there seems to be a trend towards the like light, airy, lacy eyelet top with corresponding skirt or shorts set. I really like that look. I think there's something very airy. It's a little bohemian, but still put together. It sort of speaks to the idea of a maxi dress, but perhaps feels like just like a hair more intentional and like one has put an outfit together. I think a great option if you want to make one of these tops for yourselves would be the Love Letter top by Veronica Lindbergh, fellow YouTuber extraordinaire. It's just a gorgeous combination of lace patterns. I think one of the things that is so particularly great about Kika is her aesthetic sense of which lace patterns will play nicely with one another. She just has a really great and creative eye for like mixing textures and making a beautiful design. There's sort of a progression of lace patterns. So the idea of doing this as a project sounds very, very satisfying to me because once you've done one section, you don't repeat it. You do a completely different stitch. So in that way, I have a sense that this pattern would go quite quickly because one does want to just like get to the next section, get to the next puzzle to solve, if you're anything like me. Now, if you wanted to make this a set, I would recommend the cotton lace skirt by, forgive me if I mispronounce this name, Irina Koresheva. Did I do it? I think it's beautiful. This seems like a relatively intricate lace pattern, so I had the sense that this might take quite a while, but it's just lovely. Love that it's a pattern in cotton. Again, it just makes it really perfect for this time of year. My trepidation a lot of the time with like knit skirts, specifically knit lace skirts, is that it's going to look like a little bit too beachy, you know? This, however, feels really like sleek and elegant. The lace pattern is actually pretty understated. I do not believe this would make you look like you were wearing a doily, and I think it would pair really beautifully with the Love Letter top, is what I think. Okay, I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with this and all images like it. Head to toe knit pants, knit top, monochromatic, swathed in wool. I, like a woman very on the pulse, was looking at Vogue the other day and saw that this has been a trend on runways in the not too distant recent. It feels like a runway's answer to a teddy bear, you know? Isn't the ultimate goal just to look like a really chic, put together teddy bear. And this is something that just feels like so accessible to make. For instance, the first pattern that springs to mind, they're called the wide pants by the knitwear designer Anna Eng. And I think they're just perfect. I love this like seam, almost like pleat detail down the front of the pants. They really look like trousers, like a structured, beautiful trouser with the comfort and fluidity of a sweatpant. Like, isn't that just like a wild alchemy to you? I think that's amazing. I think that's so cool. I would say it's in a pretty medium gauge. So even though the garment is quite large, I actually don't think these would take you forever and ever and ever to make, especially because they seem to be largely in stockinette, meaning you'll just be knitting the whole time. I think these are gorgeous pants, and I think would feel like a really like proud, accomplished project to cast off. And what's particularly great about taking this style prompt and applying it to knitting your own garments is it's so customizable. You can make really anything a set as long as you have the same yarn and it's in a similar gauge. I think perhaps the powder jacket by Clarissa Shellong would be a beautiful option. I love this jacket. I think it's so cool. Look at the design. Look at the asymmetrical construction. Look at this beautiful stitch pattern. Look at the waist cinching. Look at that cool dramatic collar and those satisfyingly large buttons. I love this pattern. Look at the sleeve construction. Look at it. Look at it. This looks like it'd actually be really, really fun to make. I think this would be like deceptively engaging because it looks really quite simple, you know? Oh, I want to make this. Having those like transitional pieces, having like a jacket sweater in your wardrobe, I think would be a really, really useful thing. Ooh, maybe this is next. Maybe I cast this on next. Maybe I issue all other plans to knit garments and I work on this. Something else that I spied out in the wild today, pretty predictably, were a lot of floral patterns, lots of flowy florals. It is April after all. It occurred to me that if one did not want to sally forth and purchase a new floral garment, you could really quite easily make your own. And here's what I would do. If it were me, I might go to a thrift store and find the simplest, flowiest dress, skirt, or blouse that I could in some light neutral or pastel color, and then crochet delicate little flowers and affix them to the garment until it's the flowy floral dress of your dreams. I think this would be so beautiful. There's a way for this to look like your grandmother's patchwork quilt. And I think there's a way for it to look so wispy and elegant. If you have been with me for a while, you'll have heard me talk at length about my love of the Ella Montgomery series, Anne of Green Gables. In fact, I have it here. It's never far from me. This is a pretty deep cut, but in the third book, Anne is in college and one of her housemates, Phil, takes this flowy, simple dress that Anne has and embroiders beautiful little rosebuds all over it. How does Ella Montgomery say it? It's something like, Phil's hands were deft and the effect was a dress that was the envy of all girls at Redmond that evening. Something like that. And when I thought about submitting this idea for this video, that passage was all I could think about. I've had that dress as sort of like a pie in the sky in my mind. And I do think there's a way for this delicate crocheted flower on a thrifted dress to get us close to the Anne of Green Gables vision. I think it sounds lovely. I'd like to do it. Comment below if you want to see me try to do this. Something else that I saw in literally every store I went into, the trend of like the denim or canvas jacket with the contrasting colored collar. Have you seen these? Like the denim jacket with the tan collar. They're not new. They've been around forever, but they're particularly trendy right now. I really like the look, but I am not particularly interested in going out and spending $90 in this economy on a contrasting collar. While I am suspicious of myself with the sewing machine, something that I thought that does seem very, very doable. Go to the thrift store, everybody's favorite place. Thrift 2 cool oversized jackets, one in denim and one in canvas or corduroy, of which there are an unending abundance, and just swap the collars out, and then you have 2 cool new jackets. And I bet you it won't cost more than $40. We love a bargain. Oh, I almost forgot to mention this. People are always out here asking what my lip color is when I wear red lipstick, which is very, very nice. I don't really think I should be allowed to speak with authority about makeup because I don't know anything about it. But I do know about red lipstick, and I've been on a hunt for the perfect red lip for a very, very long time. The one that I wear most often, and the one that I'm wearing right now, it's from TLB, or The Lip Bar. And this particular color is Boz Lady. It's great. So for those of you who have asked and not received any word back from me, this is me telling you this is the lipstick that I recommend. That will have been important to about 10 of you. But for those 10, if you've been wondering, that's what I wear. All right, I have to be true to myself, and I have to bring Babaa back into this conversation. It just has to be done. As it's spring, I'm always interested in a cotton cardigan, and I think cardigan number 88 is the pinnacle of what I'm looking for in a perfect spring layering piece. I love the sort of like weird mock neck collar. I love the sleeves. I love the messy pockets, the buttons. It's all really very good. And in the interest of duping those specific vibes, I would like to put forth the Zachary cardigan by Noriko Ichikawa. I think it's beautiful. While it is not exactly the Babaa sweater, I can't believe I feel this way, but I actually think I like it better. It's still very much within sort of the style philosophy of that Babaa cardigan. It has a very similar like shape and construction. The kind of oversized that it is the same kind of oversized that the Babaa cardigan is. It's just maybe like a hair more delicate, which I'm a big fan of. This, obviously, the biggest difference is the lack of pockets. You could certainly add pockets. That's very easy to do, and I actually think this sweater would look beautiful with pockets. But even without it, remember how I said I really liked the sort of like messy rolled hem of the pockets? That style element is completely present in the rolled hem on the sleeves, the collar, and the waistband. I also really like the rib. It looks like it's like maybe like a 3x1 rib, which I think looks so elegant. It almost looks more like a tulip glass. You know what I mean? You know when like vintage glasses almost have a ribbing to them? Kind of looks like that to me. Am I making sense? Do you know what I'm talking about? I love how long the waistband is. I like that it's a real part of the garment. It extends almost like halfway up this model's torso. I think that looks so cool. This pattern is definitely designed for wool, but you could very easily make this in cotton if you wanted to. The drape of it would obviously be ever so slightly different, but it's one of the great things about knitting is it's completely customizable. So you could make this a perfect spring cardigan and be on your merry way. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think it's really thoughtful, and it somehow manages to be oversized and understated, which is a really cool kind of style Venn diagram to lay within. Now I want to make all of these things. Perhaps what this video has been a brainstorming session for future projects and future videos. So maybe, this might be fun. Comment down below if there is something that I brought up today that you'd really like to see on the channel. Let me know what it is, and perhaps you'll see it in a subsequent video. I have talked certainly enough for one day, so I'm gonna go. But this has been a really, really fun way to share some of my brainstorming process and to spend this much time looking at things that I find inspiring and plotting ways to make them a reality. Comment down below with any of your spring projects, anything that's particularly inspiring to you. I love hearing from all of you. If you liked this video, you know what to do. You like this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed and you'd like to be subscribed. And most of all, I hope you're taking very, very good care of yourself. And I'll be back with another video for you very, very soon. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.